Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to do is to transition from what beginners need, what watches a beginner needs, to what the intermediate collector starts having. And what I'd like to start with is this quote from Marcel Proust. We don't receive wisdom. We must discover it for ourselves after a journey that no one can take for us or spare us. And this is true because at some point you have to start really making your own decisions. The sort of the herd decision is no longer an option. All right, so let's take a look at some of the things that will move one into the intermediate level of watch collection. Now, the first one I have is a Retrograde, and I'm wearing my Harry Winston Premier by Retrograde watch, and it's got a retrograde for the day of the week and the second, so it's ticking right along. Now, here are three others. First of all, the Maurice Lacroix has a Masterpiece Moon Retrograde, and the retrograde on it is the date. They have a hand date up around 10, 11 o'clock. In the middle is a Vacheron Constantin Patrimony Retrograde day date. What it also has a hand date from about 9 o'clock over to 3 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, there is moving from about 7 over to 4 is the day of the week, with a retrograde starting with Monday and ending up at Sunday and then popping back again. Finally, there's Gerald Genta. This is a really neat watch. It has retrograde and jumping hours. And so the hour is up at 12 o'clock. And then between 3 to 6 to 9, the minute hand moves along, and so like right now it's about 12 o'clock on that. So the things you can do with a retrograde, there are a lot of different things, and it can basically save real estate on your watch. And one of the things that I found that surprised me, a lot of watches that are very popular watches don't have a single one with a retrograde. And so again, this is moving into the intermediate level. Now, the next level that I want to move into is the annual calendar. And the annual calendar is something most people have a little window over here around 3 o'clock or maybe 6 o'clock. And it's got and it shows you the day of the month. And sometimes when you have a 30-day month, you have to change it after the first of the next date because it's showing 31 and it needs to show 1. That's your typical date watch. Now, an annual calendar is different than that in that it has the day is based on the 365 days of the year. This one, for example, is not an annual calendar. It just has the date at the bottom down there, and when you have to set it at the beginning of the month sometimes. If you have 31, it'll turn over to 1, you're good. If it's a 30-day, you have to adjust it. Also, of course, for February. Now, these annual calendars, the Marine Chronometer annual calendar by Ulysse Nardin, Vacheron Constantin Historique Triple Calendar 1942, my favorite. And finally, the Seamaster, Omega Seamaster Terra Coaxial Annual Calendar. Now, these annual calendars are really different from one another. They're not all the same. The Ulysse Nardin has a sub-dial down around 6 o'clock, and it has the months of the year that are ticked off. And then right at the bottom, there's a little window with the date, and this you can set up, and it'll go through all 31 days and all 12 months and keep the correct time. So you have to, I think you usually set it up like February 1st or something like that, and then it goes through. Now the Vacheron Constantin has a day date right in the middle below 12 o'clock that says Monday in September there. And then it has a hand date for the 31 days of the month. Now, depending on the month, it'll either jump over to 1 after 30 days or after 31 days. That's one thing that an annual calendar is supposed to do. And finally, the Omega simply has the name of the date and then the day of the date over at 3 o'clock. And so they're all different, but they're all annual calendars, and you set them up at the beginning of the year and forget about them, except you have to wind them. Then reset them if the winding, if they go to sleep on you. Okay, now this next one are world timers, and they're something like the dual timers. I have a dual timer. My wife has this is a world timer by Louis Vuitton. And the thing that's interesting about this watch is that they have all these little colored flags, and they use a lot of color in it to show the different locations. Usually what you'll have major cities along the outer edge of the dial. You can see it here. For example, the Girard-Perregaux at 12 o'clock is Paris, and then it moves down one to Cairo, and then up to Moscow, and then down to Dubai, and then so forth. And they have pretty much the same set of cities. This can be difficult when you have certain kinds of offsets, and there are ways that they deal with the offsets. For example, I've mentioned India before, and that's an offset, and a good world timer will have it for you. The three I have here, Girard-Perregaux is the 1966 WWTC. They run around $13,700. That's their MSRP, but the street price you can find them for around $9,900. The Patek Philippe 5231J, complication. This thing, the way Patek Philippe names its watches could use a little more creativity. I think a better description. This one is very expensive. This is $73,710, and it's got a little color picture in the middle. I don't know exactly how that works, because it's just showing sort of the half of the globe. So, sorry, Australia and China. So anyhow, but it's really a gorgeous watch, and with the complications, I'm sure it's quite accurate. The one thing that you'll also notice is that one of the inner tracks on the watch, you'll see a light color and a dark color on all of these. The light color simply indicates that a particular city or time zone is at night or during the daytime. Finally is Chopard LUC Time Travel 1. This one is $13,700. It's about the same as the Girard-Perregaux, and the street price is roughly the same too. This one is about $9,500. You can find new ones different places looking around. On a Patek Philippe, I don't know. You say, well, I can save $20,000, get one for $50,000. Maybe so. Take a look for yourself. Anyway, World Timers is another one that's an important one to going into a more of an intermediate level kind of collection. Now, another kind of type of watch you may want to consider if you're moving out of sort of from beginners into a little more advanced is a Grand Prix winner of some sort. The three that I have here, two of which are relatively inexpensive, and the other one is not inexpensive. The Tudor was the 2019 Challenge Prize at the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève. And it it was listed originally as, I think, $3,750. I went out and checked it out now, and now it's up to $4,000. The reason that they had it at $3,750 was that they have to be under $4,000 to be in the challenge category. The challenge category are for watches that are under $4,000, so that some of us who don't have as much money can afford one. The Black Bay P01, in this case, is the one that won it. Now, in past Grand Prix, there have been other Black Bays. Black Bay has done very well at the Grand Prix, the Tudor Black Bay. FP Journe, this is one from 2005. It won the men's prize in 2005. They make the same exact one still, 40 millimeters, caliber 1304. The only thing it changes is the price. Originally, this one back in 2005 when it won was, I think it was around 24. It was about $10,000 less, about 24,000, and today it's up to 34,200. And this is a chronometer Cervane. I have one, and it's really nice to have. Not because it won a prize, because it's a very nice watch. And one of the things about these watches is that, they're watches that are judged by the top people in the watch business. These are watchmakers, they're writers, there are all kinds of people who are involved in watches and watchmaking. They're real experts. Not like me. I'm just a watch collector. Another one is a Tag Heuer Carrera Caliber 1887 chronograph. Now, this watch was a wonderful find for me. Now, this one won the Petite Aiguille back in 2010. The Petite Aiguille was sort of used to be the lower price one. This was everything under $8,000 back then. This is in 2010. They've changed it since then. Now it's everything under $10,000. But this particular watch, the caliber 1887, one reason I've avoided Tag Heuer is because their calibers are simply ETAs of some sort. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you know what they are, but they have all of these weird names for them. However, the caliber 1887 is really a very cool caliber, and I don't know why they got rid of it. You have to, these are you have to find them used. I don't think they have the Carrera caliber 1887s anymore. But what a neat watch. And I found one for $1,500, pre-owned. Yeah, and so $1,500 to have one, and it's an in-house movement. It's an honest to the 1887. I checked on that. And so it's a really very cool watch, and one that, wasn't expecting to find. So something you may like to take a look at. Now, this final category is one I think it's always been important to me, and this is getting a watch by the watchmaker who made the movement and the watch. All right. If I buy something, for example, if I buy a Breguet, I like Breguets, I like Breguet traditions in particular, but it wasn't made by Abraham Breguet. I know that. On the other hand, if I buy a watch by Harbring II, I know I'm getting one by Richard Harbring, not by somebody who followed him up. The same is true with Rolf Lang Dresden. Rolf Lang had lent a bunch of us a Canaletto just to get it around, and there's a baker's dozen of us. That watch is very different. It's a very big watch, about 45 millimeter. But what a watch! I mean, you can see it's a handmade watch, and you can see with a handmade watch, with a really hand finished watch and everything else, you can see little human errors. Whereas with a machine one done, they're all perfect. But that one was a lot of fun to discover. Now the final one over here is a Kadoki. It's because of Kadoki 2, and it won the Grand Prix, I think it was last year, for the Petite Aiguille Award. And this watch, again, it's got a handmade watch with a, and Stefan Kadoki will make you different things that you ask for, different colors and so forth. And these watches are, I mean, some of the other ones by some of the other top watchmakers, for example, this one by F.P. Jorn, you know, these guys get really expensive. It's by Roger Smith, like $100,000, and you have to wait 20 years to get one. But the ones by Richard Harbring, the Harbring 2, Rolf Lang, Stefan Kadoki, you can get for relatively reasonable prices. Rolf Lang's a little more expensive, but the Harbring 2 and the Kadoki both are great buys. By the way, both of them won awards, so not only you click off 2 check boxes for an intermediate collector, one by a watchmaker and one with an award winner. Okay, now these are my views, all right, and I think the most important thing was why I tried to say at the beginning is that you've got to explore on your own. You got to leave the herd. If you're stuck in a herd, you know. And what you want to do is you want to listen to a lot of different people. Don't just listen to me or somebody else. Go out and find for yourself. One of the things that I think if you see a watch that you like, go find out about it. A lot of times we have what we call these price zombies. They'll say, what's the price? Don't do that. Go find out yourself and discover things. Because I think that makes watch collection 1,000 times more interesting rather than sort of going along lockstep, getting the same kind of watch year after year again. At least it is to me. But let me say this. Some people like what they're doing. At the beginner level, with a group, they like the group, they like the watch, and they could just do it for the rest of their lives. That's fine too. All right. Intermediate is different. You gotta try a lot of different things and think more about, you know, what is it that you really want, not what somebody else wants. Let's hear your opinions on this. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. And as always, this is an invitation to subscribe if you like.